Welcome to Hot Dad's Pod. I am your co-host, Maria Heinegg.
And I'm your other co-host. Funny how that works. Save Gracie Canaan. I didn't even say my name. I just said I am my handle.
She has to make commentary on the social media plugs every single time.
I don't know where my name ends and my social begins.
And you can find me at Maria Heinegg, MariaHeinegg. And now let's welcome to the podcast our amazing guest who we're doing a double episode with, because we're going to release her pod on what it was like to grow up Ariel.
Right.
Ariel Elias. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at Ariel_comedy.
Cool.
Comedy.
Perfect. We always need to clarify that.
Don't say how to spell your name, Ari. Just say.
No, you'll figure it out.
Is it Ariel?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Really, I love that.
Ariel. You haven't seen that bit? Earl.
What?
Yeah,
That's how Southerners like.
Everybody says it different. My whole life, I have no real preference. Truly, genuinely, no preference. So
I love that.
Whatever's the easiest for you, is I'm happy with.
I
I'll
feel
respond
that
to it.
with my Grace or Gracie. Although I think when I'm on comedy, I'm Gracie. But guys,
I was
listen.
so close to singing "I Can Show You the World." And I was like, "That's not
movie.
That's
Wrong
not
Disney movie.
Little Mermaid at all."
Have you seen the new Little Mermaid?
I haven't. Is it
It's
great?
great.
Really?
It's great. It's so good.
I mean, I love her. Is it Chloe or Hallie? I don't know. I
It's
just call them
Chloe.
Okay, all right, Chloe. Okay, cool. They're just
CHLOE.
Thank you so much. I would love for you to spell out everything. That would be great on the pod.
I think it's Haley. I don't think it's Hallie.
Oh, really?
Chloe
I don't know.
Haley.
I'm not cool enough.
Me
I'm not-
neither.
I don't know what the kids are
Loser.
doing.
Do you know that they are proteges of Beyonce?
Yes, I did know this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I did
like-
know. And it makes sense.
Because they do so much like do-it-yourself stuff and like are such hard workers that she was like, yes.
Yeah, they're
God.
hustlers. They're hashtag grindcore.
I binge watched Lizzo's show.
Yeah.
Watch Out for the Big Girls.
How is it?
It's just I'm just here to recommend like
Is it
really
just
nice
fun?
things. It's really fun. It's
Is it
really
like a
beautiful.
reality show?
It is a reality show
Where they dance.
They dance.
Okay.
They dance.
Yes.
And it's just
They
like
dance.
They dance. It's really nice. It's like it's reality, and it has some of like the things that you want where there is a villain, but it also just has like I don't know. It just like feels good. It feels
like,
good
is
to
it
watch.
like British Bake Off where you're just like having a nice time?
It's like British Bake Off meets like Step Up.
Yeah, there's a bit more drama than Great British Bake Off.
Okay.
Also, who doesn't love watching dancing?
Yeah.
Like Dancing with
Yeah.
the Stars was huge. I never saw one episode, but it's just like whenever you watch dancing, like I was watching West Side Story drunk the other night and I was like, what?
Good
The
start.
new one. Thank you. Got the thumbs up from Andrea. And I was just like, every time I see passionate dancing, I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a fucking dancer.
I had a dream.
Like I'm going to get up there.
The other night, sorry to talk about my dreams, but
No, do it.
Our dog basically like woke up in the middle of the night. My husband had to take her out. They came in. I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I was like, oh, I was just in the middle of a dream. And I was telling my husband, I just had this dream where I was dancing beautifully.
Oh my God. What a heartwarming.
I know.
What kind of dancing?
It was like modern ballet kind of
Oh,
dancing.
You were a princess.
I
in your
mean, I was
dream.
pointing my toes and everything.
Oh boy.
When you see something like dancing or singing, doesn't it make you like maybe it's just me? It makes me feel like I'm like the gremlin of the arts world.
What?
You know, it's like what like as comedians, we're just these like weird artistic creative orcs. And then you look at like musicians and
She's
singers
got-
and dancers. I'm sorry, I said orcs. I couldn't.
She tried to force me to put the word orcs in a bit that I was working on, and I was like,
You love
gotta
hard K's,
stop.
orc.
Ortiz.
It is spelled with a C.
Yeah, but like the hard C,
But the-
hard K.
yeah,
no, yeah.
the sound.
Spell it.
ORC. It comes up a lot in crossword puzzles.
Orc.
Orc. It's a classic crossword puzzle clue.
Really?
What's it a clue for?
It's just used a lot. Like the
Like,
word
as
orc
the
as an
actual-
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as a clue, as an
Okay,
answer
got it.
in crossword puzzles.
Do they say the comedians of the art world?
Yes, that is usually actually. I was.
But you know what I mean? Like you watch like a flamenco dancer or like a singer or something, and
Do you
you're
mean
like,
a flamenco dancer?
flamingo dancer. No, I meant what I said. Flamingo dancer.
She also likes to say tied and true instead of
you know
tried
what?
and true.
I stand by all of it.
I get
okay?
it. I say a lot of times. I say ahead of the curb. And I always have to think about it of which one is right.
What-
Stay ahead of the curb, meaning like you don't want to. If you're pulling into a driveway,
Yeah,
you
of
want to
course.
be ahead of
You
the
wanna
curb.
be ahead
you
of the
don't want to
curb.
drive onto the curb.
Right. The curb is what will stop you, and you
Yeah.
want to be ahead of that. You want to be in front of
You don't want to be stopped. I get it.
Thank you.
She's a new co-host.
I
feel
will.
seen.
Mine is that I literally found out like 2 years ago when Sam Evans said it that it's for all intents and purposes. I thought
Not
it was
intensive.
I thought it was intensive purposes.
yeah. I think Andrea just found out.
Oh, Andrea, like this is a great time to plug our producer, Andrea Allen. Bow, bow, bow. She just found out that it's intents and purposes. So the more you
Also,
know.
You're looking very tan, Andrea. I meant to tell you. I know I shouldn't be like spending too much time on this or like
With
commenting
someone
on
off
people's
camera
bodies.
that they can't see.
Yeah, but I just want everyone listening and
To know
watching
Andrea
us
looks
know that
tan.
Andrea's fucking tan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She hiked the national park.
Which one?
Arches,
Canyonland. Bryce.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
She got into it. I'm just repeating everything she's
Ariel,
saying.
are you an outdoorsy bitch? You kind of are dressed right now as like cute outdoorsy. Like
Thank
you look like
you.
an American Eagle.
I think she looks like cute Brooklyn brunch today.
Oh,
honestly.
Wow,
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah. Do you
nice.
venture? Do you venture out there as a Kentucky gal?
I do like an adventure. I don't like know how to camp,
Sure.
but I love the idea of it. And if somebody will instruct me, I'm happy to follow along.
Yeah.
I love a mountain.
Just one.
Just one.
Not
No ranges.
No-
Absolutely
no
not.
chains?
You get your Andes out of here.
Rockies, Appalachians.
No, thank
You're just
you.
going for a Fuji.
You just
a
give
Fiji,
me just
a Fuji.
just one mount.
Yeah. Yeah.
One
I-
mount.
I dig that. Maria fucking loves camping. She can't get enough
you love
of
camping?
it. We're going.
Oh, you're being sarcastic. Okay.
I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I have been camping many a time and I have had a good time camping. But the problem, I like glamping. But the problem is when you come back from camping, you're just like covered in dirt. You know what I mean?
love being
Like,
covered in
love
dirt.
that.
Do you not like that?
No.
I love
like
peeing
it.
outside.
I'll tell you what.
I
too.
love digging under my fingers.
I like it.
I'm one with the earth.
I like it if like I like being covered in dirt. Like if you like go horseback riding, you know what I mean? And
What
you're
the
like
fuck?
out.
Okay.
I did not see that coming.
I was a horse girl. I went to horse riding camp every
What?
summer.
That makes sense.
Overnight.
That tracks.
yeah, but
don't
you
know what
can't
that
just
means,
like
but I'll
you
take
can't
it.
just blindside me after 6
was-
months of a podcast with like, okay, camping, no, but horseback riding, like that's insane.
Horseback riding's so fucking fun. Horses are the best. Like it was like a
Name
two,
one.
2 week what? Name a
Seabiscuit.
horse?
That's the best. Okay,
SEA.
cool. She's quick. She's quick with the horse references and spelling them.
From
okay?
Kentucky.
The name of my first horse the first year I went to horseback riding camp was Butternut. If you will need
That's
to know,
cute. I feel like that's the name of every horse.
I don't know what to do with that.
Okay, sorry. It's
but
always
you
like
do
a food.
You do have like, and I mean this in a positive, like horse girl thighs. Like,
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of my body formation is from my dad. like
Who was a horse?
yeah. like
Checks out. Great
Like my
genes.
dad is the one with a butt. Like
Uh-huh.
my dad is the one with like the defined
feminine
thighs.
shape.
And I used to tell my ex that I'd be like, my butt's from my dad, and he'd be like, stop saying that.
Yeah.
He
You're like,
hated
no, I
that.
want you to picture it.
Yeah.
I want you to think about it. I do think it's funny when, wait, no, this is going to sound like I'm body shaming, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, we
I was
know.
like meeting this guy. I was going on a date with this guy recently, and I was walking behind him on the date. Does that make sense? He was like too far for me to be like, hey, wait
You were-
for me.
You were
So-
walking behind him like traditional, like American
stalker.
culture.
Yeah,
Oh, I
exactly.
just
I was-
meant that you're walking behind
Like
your
the
man.
Victorian era dictates that we must.
yeah,
we must
exactly.
walk behind our bows.
But it was like
Yeah.
a block and a half behind. So I was like,
literally
I was
stalking him.
Yeah, I like it. It felt very. But he was, and I texted him as I was walking behind him, and I was like, just so you know, I'm walking behind you, and you have like a very feminine sway to you. Like you have a very.
I'm sure he
feminine
loved that
swish.
compliment.
Yeah.
You ever met a
Anyway,
guy with
that's-
hips?
Yeah, I think so.
Like in Y Tu Mama Tambien, like Diego Luna.
You're the
like,
second person to reference that film today in my life.
all right, well, you're welcome.
Yeah, continue.
But like when the woman like pulls his towel off and he's naked, like they show him from behind, and I was like, that's a man with hips.
Garcia Bernal.
No,
Gael?
Diego Luna. Like I said.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, cool.
Do either of you watch tennis at all? Are either of you into tennis?
I loved the Netflix documentary. Did you watch that? The tennis series, the
no,
miniseries?
I didn't.
It is so fun. You have to watch it. It's fucking great.
What's it
Lost.
called?
It's not called Match Point because that's the name of the movie.
The
but
Woody Allen movie.
No, but I did once accidentally watch Match Point when I thought it was Wimbledon.
That's
the movie,
that is
Wimbledon?
really
That's
funny.
different.
It was
It has a
during-
lot more
that is
It was
murder.
during
so
finals, and
funny.
I was just trying to decompress, and
Yeah.
my roommate had Match Point on DVD, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Great, a perfect little rom com."
Yeah. Oh my god.
Just cut to
Not that.
ScarJo being strangled. or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck.
I love that movie though. Like
Which one? Match Point.
yeah, Match Point. I've never
Okay.
seen Wimbledon. Matt, it's just like it's really well done, and it's
It's crimes and misdemeanors
But
again with
it's just great.
a
Like there's
racket.
the scene where he's like panicking, trying to like put the gun together. Like it's
Yeah.
just fucking great.
That would be me committing
But
murder.
anyway, in tennis, there's a player named Francis Tiafoe, American player. It's very good. Best butt in the business.
Okay.
Great butt.
Best
Well,
butt in the biz. We're just plugging it.
Best
I'm
butt in the
gonna-
You heard it here
I'm
first.
about to look this up.
Or
Do you guys
second.
not do a best butt in the biz segment?
No, but honestly, we should start. I'm
We-
always
we
looking for
fucking do now.
segments. I
Francis
love a good
Tiafoe.
structure. Do you tennis? Is this a thing about you?
I don't really play. I played a little bit in high school, but not well ever. But I just really like watching it. I'm very into
Yeah.
watching
His
it.
wife has
Yeah.
cancer. That's sad.
What?
Oh,
That's really
God.
sad. Wait, he's not married.
Best butt in the biz.
Came up as the autocorrect.
I love the idea of playing tennis, but it is like everything else in this goddamn city. It's so hard to do. Like I go to visit my dad in fucking suburbs of Pennsylvania, and he's like, "We have a tennis court. Do you want to blah blah like go there literally anytime for free?" And I'm like, "Yeah, here
Yeah,
you have
that's a
to
good
wake
bet.
up at like 4 a.m."
Not only that, you have to have a permit to play
What
on the
the
public.
fuck?
Tennis in New York, I think, is like racist.
Yeah.
Because there, you have to have a permit. It's $100 a year to
What?
play on public courts, and it's
Holy
like very
shit.
cost prohibitive. For a lot of people, you have to like sign up. I understand needing to sign up because it's New York. Like everybody has to,
Sure.
whatever. There's like a million things. A million people want to play.
That is so fucking classist.
yeah, it's
Like,
classist.
let's just start playing. Like, what's free shit we can do? Let's just start a jump roping league. Let's make that
What's wrong with you?
a thing. I love saving money, and I
A
hate,
jump roping.
Yeah,
there is
what else-
competitive jump roping. I mean, that is a thing.
Well, I don't want to get crazy about it. Okay, I don't want to,
Well,
but
then-
I do want to. I want to. I don't know. I just want to be part of something.
Can I just
want to be
say
included.
that
Thank
Rafael
you.
Nadal also has a nice butt?
yes.
Yeah.
A lot of tennis players have good butts, but
Yeah, 'cause
Francis
they're-
Tiafoe, I think, in particular.
Yeah.
has-
No, I looked it up.
What do you
A
think is your
shapely-
best
Quite nice.
physical feature that you're
Mine?
the most proud of?
Well, I wouldn't be proud of a physical feature because I didn't do it.
It's
You
very
know what I
humble.
mean?
No, I don't know what you mean. I take full credit for like everything. Literally, I'm like, look at the. Yeah, I have no shame.
I think like the shape of my eyes is very nice, but I truly did nothing.
I was
going
gonna
to
say your
What are you
eyes are
talking
really
about?
lovely,
Your
and
whole
your
fucking
color.
face is incredible.
But thank you.
Yeah.
But I didn't do anything for that.
So?
Like my parents just had sex and it worked out this way.
Yeah. Good for them.
That's
Well, I mean, they
yeah.
also they didn't really do anything to make you look the way you did. They just made a thing.
Right. Well, not
So.
a thing. I'm a person. Thank you. But
You weren't for a while though, and then you were a person,
Right.
As a
at
pro
conception.
abortion.
I was gonna say, let's
moment of
get into
conception, I think
this.
Not pro-choice, pro-abortion.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Let's
I think
be
everyone should get
fully
one,
transparent.
honestly, yeah.
Turn 18, get an abortion.
Yeah.
go to college.
Exactly. Even if you don't, even if you're not pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that go in the cut section? No, you're cool with
No,
that.
that's fun.
Yeah.
Why would I dislike that?
I don't know, but I was literally, I just stopped myself from saying something that you definitely would have cut. So you're welcome. I'm the problematic one on here.
I can see that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to cut a whole
Horse
section.
girl, problematic.
Yeah,
why the
but
dynamic
Maria's
works.
probably going to get canceled first when it comes out. She's a horse girl, and then it's just going to be me on this
Yeah.
podcast saying horrible things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Being a
that's what we
whore.
hope. What about you? What are you the most proud of?
I don't know, my butt, I guess.
Yeah, you have a great butt.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really good.
honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's nice. What about you?
I actually don't have you would think, when someone ever asks a question to
What
the
about your
group, it's
abs?
like I don't really have abs,
Yeah, you
but I guess
do.
I'm cool with Okay, I'm being shamed.
Andrea
I'm being
is
body
mad.
shamed right now.
I don't think you know what that word.
I like
that
torso.
Phrase means.
I like torso
in general.
Well, no, because one time I was drunk at the FIFA World Cup women's finals. Not
Sure.
there, but this. I promise this dovetails together. I was having brunch. We were on like our second bottle of rosé, and we were watching all these like super fit lady athletes, and
Lathletes.
I was drunk and I was doing my athlete. I was also competing with myself over which one of me could drink more rosé, and I turned to Dan.
Which one of you and
Me.
yourself?
Yeah. And I turned to Dan and I was like, look at these bitches. I have abs too. And they were like, no, you don't, Gracie. I was like, yeah, check it out. And then I stood up and showed my stomach to no one who cared, but an entirety of a beer hall. And they're like, you don't sit down.
Yeah,
So I
you were
can't
also
say-
full of rosé, which I would not say is like a peak time for abs.
Which is also how professional soccer players do it. They fill up on rosé and then they show off their abs. So yeah, I'll say like torso area. That's
Torso
it. I'm done
area is
talking for the rest of the podcast. You guys go.
No pressure. So, what have you been up to?
Today has mostly consisted of being on various subways to get to Brooklyn,
Yeah,
but
you're so brave.
I know I'm really.
She lives in Queens, so it's a whole thing,
It's a whole thing,
and it's a holiday weekend, so like no trains are.
and I have to
running.
go to Brooklyn again tonight for
What do
Old
you
Man,
got? Stay
Old Man
here.
Hustle. No,
Dude, that's crazy.
I'm
If
not
I
going
had
on stage in
something-
shorts. I respect this art.
This art form. Like flamingo
What if?
dancing.
You should have just brought pants. You could hang out. Do you want to go to H&M and get some pants and just
that
stay
would
in
be
Brooklyn?
so fun.
No,
She's like, I'm done hanging out
I really
with you
don't
as
want
soon as
to.
this podcast
You
is
know,
over.
I feel like if I cross a borough for more and I have things that are like 5 hours or less in between, I just treat it like I'm going on the Oregon Trail. I bring like all my electronics, I bring snacks, I bring deodorant,
think
change of
that's smart.
underwear.
I'm
I'll
so
just-
glad you said it right. You said Oregon, but you're West Coast, so that's
As
why
opposed
you
to-
know. Oregon.
Oregon. Do people still say that? I feel
Yeah.
like with the the invention of the internet, we should all know now.
Yeah, that's not.
be
You would think the
surprised.
internet would educate people on a lot of stuff.
But
Unfortunately,
instead, we just know every Seinfeld episode and how to build bombs.
And that vaccines are bad.
yeah.
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, once I grew my tail after the second vaccine, I finally got it.
Yeah.
I fucking
I would love a
wish.
tail. Give me an extra appendage.
Would you rather have wings or a tail? The
Great
wings
question.
don't make you fly though. But
What?
you can flap and you can break a fall.
Okay, and question, does the tail indicate my emotions like a dog?
Yeah, sure.
Then I want the I think
No.
I want the wings. I don't want
Yeah.
people to know how I feel.
Well,
Yeah.
not only that, but imagine sitting like on an airplane and you've got a tail. That would be so uncomfortable.
Well, here's
Yeah,
a
but
que-
wings would be.
Here's another question.
No, that you
is
can
this
spread those.
is this a choice everybody has to make? Like
Or
I'm
just
not
you?
the only person in the world with
Good
wings or a
question,
tail.
Maria. What do you think? Is this
it's just you.
It's just me.
You're just the person. You're just the freak.
Then maybe I want a tail.
Then you got to cut a hole in all your pants too.
Or you just tuck it in and then maybe like how long is the tail?
ankle
Ankle length. I want it to be. I think that's what I want. I want it
You
to
know
be
what?
Like, I want it to be a horsetail to bring it all
That's
back.
what I was gonna say. It's a horsetail.
Then
I was picturing
absolutely
like a
tail.
little demon tail.
Think of all the hairstyles you could do with a horse
Out of
tail.
your ass?
Out of your butt. Yeah.
You're gonna braid
becomes-
it.
Yeah, and then you could do like a crown around your butt.
You
with
could
the,
braid
like,
your hair and your horsetail.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I'm
You could
in.
braid your hair into your horsetail, put flowers in it. I think that would be cute.
It's because the animal, like, it's the sitting. That's why I wouldn't do the tail.
the setting.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could flip it up, like to go up your back.
That's not how tails work.
Tails are
Tails can work however you
you don't
want
sit
them to
on your
work.
tail. Like
Yeah,
you don't sit on
but
your
they
tail.
lay
bone.
it on
It's-
their side. Like they don't flip it up because that would
Well,
be
you can
uncomfortable
loop
on the
it,
skin.
You know, I don't know. I trust you. You're a horse girl, but
Okay.
also, do horses sit? No.
Well, as someone who's I mean, you have a dog as well, but your dog doesn't like flip it. It's never flipped up. It's like laying flat on the ground. This has got to be really fun for the
Okay,
listeners.
for all of
Sit
the
on your
scientists
tail. You can
listening,
sit on
let
it.
us know physically how
Sound
does this
off in the
work?
comments.
I'd have a beaver tail. Maria, go.
I don't know. Oh, wings.
What kind of tail would you have? And then we'll
Wings.
wrap.
I would do wings.
You do wings?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. One more question. Bat wings or like bird wings? Like little fucking leathery, flappy.
Are angel wings not an
fuckers?
option? Because that's what I was picturing.
Yeah. Yeah. But if
Like
it's a
Angels in
nice
America.
angel wing, then one is broken. So it's
What?
bird wings.
You can't just be adding new caveats.
Fuck yeah, I can. I
that's
brought this up.
This is ridiculous.
Okay, you get those 3 choices, and then you can get this back on track.
What are the
until,
3 choices again?
It's
little
bird,
bat wings?
bat, or angel.
or angel, but one is kind of broken or bent.
I feel like I'd go back.
Andrea also thinks it's stupid. I think
I'd go
I think I
bat, too.
wouldn't go bat just because that's kind of like creepy. looking. Like
yeah, that's what would be creepy about.
Like you get mad at someone and you're just like fucking.
Yeah.
I love that.
just hanging from the tops of
Yeah.
like rafters of things.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'd go bird because I think the feathers would be cool.
But do you have to preen?
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I just,
Okay.
maintenance.
I just
think
get
we
it
should-
done professionally. I would pay for professional preen.
Yeah, you
I
just start
think-
going to the vet.
You should get us back on track, Maria, but I would like to make a motion to make this a permanent ongoing segment. Reoccurring
Taylor
segment.
Wings are no, absolutely not.
Fuck. Never let me have any fun.
Yeah, you're right. I'm such a bad time to be around. I'm so serious.
All right. Get it.
All right,
Go
stop
on.
flirting with me. We're trying to talk to our guest.
flirt
Okay,
with me.
so I forgot to tell you this part, but I'm sure you can come up with something. We ask all of our guests to give us a stay hot tip, and it doesn't have to be like physical beauty. Like it can be mentally, spiritually, financially. Like so that just mull on that, and we'll ask you at the end of the episode.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we'll distract you with no time to think of anything because we'll continue to talk to you the whole time.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask you for some advice. First question, because you are open about it. Do you think that we should get herpes?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be cool,
Sure.
I think like an honest answer is like I think it's such a big fear for so many people. Like they have so much anxiety about ever getting herpes that like just
crazy.
get it and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
I thought at this point, so like half of my good friends have it, and we've had this ongoing bit now where I'm like, I've had so many false alarms, but every time I've had it, I've been like, yes, finally, I don't have to worry about it. I'm part of the gang. And then I find out that I'm negative. And then they're like, yeah, and then I'm not.
Is
but
it
it's
always
like,
razor burn? What is it?
or yeah, or just like something
pimple?
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened like 3 times. But I'm like, at this point, it's like the first time I was freaking out and crying and thought my life was
Yeah.
over, as everyone. Then you learn about it, and then you're like, oh, we've been taught that like people are little bitches who are worried about
I think
this.
what's the only annoying part about it to me, other than like, obviously if you break out, like very
uncomfortable.
very uncomfortable,
It is uncomfortable.
is having to tell like
Yeah.
your partners or having to tell potential partners and then them be like, nah,
Sorry.
because that's happened to my friend like several times. Like she
that
has it
sucks.
and she
I've
has
never
guys bow
heard.
out and be like, no.
I've had guys bow out,
Yeah.
but like the way I started thinking of it is like, I mean, I have a joke about it, but it's like, if this is going to scare you away, like,
Yeah.
thank you for saving us both some time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because it's like, you're not going to be able to handle the mess that the rest of me is.
Right.
If this is what's going to scare you away,
Yeah.
like, you're not going to be able to handle like the depression slumps and all of that. If you're like
that's way grosser. I
it's
promise
really
you.
I mean, if you see like what happens to my apartment when I'm
Yeah.
depressed, like, yeah, it's disgusting.
yeah. And highly contagious. Okay.
Honestly,
so
that's like half the reason to have like a live-in partner is like that when you're low that they can maintain what's going on in the apartment
It
while
is-
you're like laying on the couch falling apart.
It is really nice to switch off, being like, who's
upset?
who's depressed, who's more depressed, and who
Yeah.
has to step up.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice.
but your husband's not a comedian.
So he doesn't do stand up.
Anymore.
Okay, so he's allowed to
Anymore.
be depressed.
He used to do stand up. He's very funny and he's very smart. So I think that is like a recipe for being depressed.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he does write. I mean, he's like had a pilot made.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the world.
That's awesome. How is it like being with someone? I think I'm at the point where it's like I feel like I can only be with people in that world.
It's nice to have somebody who fully understands, like, here's why I'm not here a lot of
Yeah.
times. Here's why I'm out of town.
Yeah.
Here's why a lot of my friends are men, or like who I'll like be on the road with men.
Yeah.
And where you're like, we do have to share a hotel room sometimes because they don't give a feature a room. Like, I hope. And he just understands.
Yeah.
And also those times where you do a show and it fully affects like your mood for better or for worse. Like just somebody who understands.
Yeah. No, 100%.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Because like my friends who have, and it's usually male comics who have like girlfriends that don't do stand up. It's, to a certain point, like they're chill with it, but they have to make this particular space to spend time with them. And if it's like two comics, you don't have to do that. Like nobody's sitting at home, like, reading a book, like missing the other person, which is something my ex said to me after we already broke up. He was like, I was just at home missing you. And I was like, and you never said anything about it? And he was like, no, I just thought eventually it would change. And I was like, oh, you thought I would quit? Like, that's fucking rude.
Like, here's a kickboxing Groupon. Go make friends.
I mean, it is like you do have to be very aware.
2004?
Dude, we're going to have to save another segment for that. I just got laser hair removal on Groupon, okay? It is dangerously
Is that why you keep thinking you have herpes?
Because you're a fucking budget laser hair Groupon laser.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm like, guys, I don't have herpes, but they did burn my entire labia.
She's like, they
way
do,
worse.
Yeah, she's like, they do laser treatments and happy endings.
You heard it here first. What the fuck were we talking about?
Can you?
My
sorry.
relationship.
Sure. Yeah.
So to backtrack even more, do you want to tell us your origin story of getting herpes?
Yeah, I can do that. Have I already told you this in
Yes.
life? Okay. I had
And you give sort of a summary of it in your bit about
yes,
it.
of course. I mean, it's basically I had this was like my first serious boyfriend right out of college who I was dating, and he's the first person I ever had unprotected sex with because I was on birth control and we were, in a committed, not loving relationship, but
Which is always the best person to have unprotected sex
a
with.
committed toxic relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And then I was living in New Orleans.
Say no more.
So listen, I like felt like I had an outbreak and I didn't know what it was. And I had been riding my bike everywhere in New Orleans, and New Orleans is like covered in potholes. And I was in such denial because I was like, it can't be herpes. It can't be herpes. That I was like, oh, this must be from like riding my bike over potholes. And that's what's happening right now.
Oh my God.
And then
That's
I went to a
hilarious.
doctor and she was like, no,
It's not. It's actually not.
herpes.
It's not potholes, as it turns out.
The old
it or
New
not.
Orleans potholes.
Technically, it's just genital potholes.
I was just, you ever live in a city where the infrastructure is so bad
That you get
that you
herpes
convince
from it?
yourself that's the STD that you have?
Oh my God.
Sometimes if I ride the bus here, I'm like, if I don't have an STD, I'm getting one by sitting down.
that was like
I have gotten scabies from the subway before.
Wait, I don't know what that is.
no.
Really? You
What the
too,
fuck is
Andrea?
that?
Scabies? It's like body lice, basically, and it's really uncomfortable. It's really, really itchy.
Oh,
you know
lice is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's awful.
How do you know it's from the subway?
That's a good point, but like I don't know how. Like
Sure.
people get it either
Dan
from
doesn't have it, so.
I did give it to him.
Oh yeah. So
but-
maybe he gave it to you.
No, I gave it to him.
because you had it first.
I for sure gave it to him. A lot of people, the way that they get it is like either you can get it from like furniture, from like sitting on somebody else's furniture, but you can also get it from like trying on clothes at a store if somebody else had it.
Oh.
But I wasn't doing any, like I wasn't hanging out with friends. I wasn't going to whatever. The only thing I was doing was riding the subway.
Were you
and
in
walking
jeans or a
dogs.
dress?
Well,
Maybe.
it was summertime, so I was like probably shorts.
I
or
think
whatever.
about that
That
a
makes-
lot.
I was
I think
gonna say
about
that
sitting
makes
down
the
in
most
a
sense.
sundress. I can't do that anymore.
I don't sit on the benches, like the wood benches in the subway platforms
Sure.
because one of my friends got bed bugs from it.
Ugh, that's my nightmare.
Yeah.
That's my nightmare.
So how did you, that was what, like 10 years ago?
The
And that was,
herpes?
yeah, like if I feel like if
Yeah.
I got it now,
than
or if I know people that get it now, it's like we're educated enough, the information's out there, it's not like a huge deal. But to get that and have that experience in your early 20s, that's like people fucking kill
It's
themselves.
traumatic.
Yeah.
So you found out, and then were you like, what the fuck to the dude?
Yeah, he insisted that he didn't have it, and that It's like
Denial. Love it.
I mean, I get it. Like, if you've never had an outbreak before, like a lot of people carry it and never have
Right.
outbreaks.
Yeah.
So why would they know, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, in my jokes, I blame him, but it's not.
Sure.
I mean, it's not really his fault. Of the damage that he did to me, that's like the minimal.
Well, the other argument people always love to make, and I know that it's like true, but probably unlikely, is it's like you could have had protected sex with people before that, and like one of them.
Sure,
it's just
the
so
timing was
like
Sure.
comparatively though, it doesn't make any sense.
doesn't make any sense. And then look, this is where he was a jerk, is he, you know, throughout the relationship kind of convinced me like he was the only person who would ever love me because
Oh boy. What a
who
guy.
else would love me? I'm like damaged goods.
Oh my God.
And when we broke up, it was this thing of like, I was like, yeah, who will ever love me? And then I did some like light Googling. There was, she's still like is a blogger and stuff named like Elle Dawson and talks a lot about having herpes. She was like
Yeah.
the first person I saw who had written about it and was open about it. And then one night, I mean, I was like in such a dark place with like everything in my life at that point. But there was one night on stage at just like an awful show where I just said it out loud, where I was
Yeah.
just like, I have herpes or whatever. And it was like the first time I had ever really said it out loud to anybody who wasn't my
Close
boyfriend or my doctor. I don't even think I had told any close friends at that point.
Because of the judgment.
Yeah, it's just like I had a friend in college who told me she had herpes, and it was this moment where I was like, oh, if this like hot cool girl can get it, then like any of us can get it. You know, it was like,
Sure.
As it turns out, science is science.
well, it's just like, especially when I think a lot of it is based on what sex education you got in school growing
Yeah.
up.
And you grew up in Kentucky.
I grew up in Kentucky in a
Yeah, but
public
I grew
school.
up in fucking California, and even there, like nothing. They still taught us abstinence.
It's just all like fear based,
Yeah.
and shame based.
Yeah.
So that was the only perception
Don't
I
be
had.
a slut and you won't get
Right.
all
The
these
only
gross
way you'll get
diseases.
these is if you're a slut, is
Yeah.
if you're just giving
Meanwhile,
it up
I
for
know
free.
people who have gotten it from their spouses.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's
So,
crazy.
pretty
What
wild.
was the open? Where I am curious. Where was the open mic? Was it in New Orleans? Or
It was in New Orleans.
And what was the reception?
I mean, the whole show was bad. So it was one of those like, it can't get any worse. So I might as well just
You
say
could have
this.
been like, I murdered somebody, and they're like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean,
In
I
New
would.
Orleans, that's
I was going
more
to say,
common
you really
than
fit in,
herpes.
actually. But then I just like started writing jokes about it, and I started saying it on stage. I think the first joke I wrote about it was like and I still have these jokes, but like was like I was calling it adult acne, and my doctor's like, that's not cute. It's not acne. It's herpes. You have to call it herpes. Also, you have adult acne.
So what do we call that? You're like face herpes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that was like one of the first jokes I wrote about it. Saying like it wouldn't sound nearly as bad if it wasn't plural. That was like another
Herpy.
if I just had a herp.
Yeah.
You'd be like, that's so cute. Yeah, right. That's it. So once I started saying that, it became like, it was just like, oh, like we'll just laugh at it. And then people after shows started coming up to me and being like, I have herpes too.
Yeah.
And then I still didn't really know how to tell like potential mates.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it that way, but like people who I was dating.
What are you, a walrus?
Yeah. I didn't know how to tell suitors that I had it.
Gentleman callers.
My gentleman callers. So I would just be like, come to a show. And I would do it.
That's so smart.
And some of them would dip out, and some of them would just be like, cool.
Good boys.
I love pussy, you know?
Yeah.
This is not going to
That
get in
is,
the way.
it's so true about like you said, I don't know if you said it before we were talking or like on the actual when we were recording, but it is such a great way to weed people out,
Sure.
you know? But also it's like, not to get too comedy shop talky, but it's really interesting hearing about actually healing through talking about things on stage. I think like as we get further into our career, we build up this little armor and we're like, it feels less sincere. And then you think back to the times where you're like, no, I actually talked about something that was hard on stage and it like
or just
helped
talking
me deal
about
with
it in general, like, and
Yeah.
obviously doing it in a public format.
Yeah,
you
you're
know, is,
like,
a
my
different
pussy is
level.
raw and exposed. So like maybe I can be too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and
that's
it-
the episode name.
Well, and
Raw and exposed.
oh boy,
Write it down, Andrea.
herpes, raw and exposed, but
Uncaged.
But I think the other thing about it, and I think comics do this, or at least I know I do this, is it's like if you call out like the most controversial parts of yourself, or like, you know, the worst things about you, or like however you know, depending on what it is, like it feels like armor, like you said, that it's like you can't hurt me because I already know like what my worst qualities are, or the things that feel vulnerable, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, go ahead, tell people I have herpes. You're like,
very good.
oh my God,
very
I'm
good.
gonna kick you to the curb.
You're gonna kick me to the curb.
To the curve, yeah.
So what was it like when you had that conversation with your husband, who stuck around, to my understanding?
As far as we know.
Yeah. Listening, baby, if you're listening, I just want to tell you I do have herpes. Thanks for giving me that space to tell him.
Of course, safe space.
No, I like when we met, I was like, I told him I was basically like 5 minutes into meeting him.
Sure.
And we met.
You were friends at first, right?
Yeah, we were friends for a while. I mean, okay. The way we met, it was at the Creek in the Cave. It was at the Creek, the
romance capital of the world.
Yes. It was at the awards show that they used to have in the basement. Yes.
That always smelled like pizza and farts, even if there was no pizza in
yes,
there.
which actually smells like vomit.
Interesting.
It's actually the smell of vomit.
Sorry, Rebecca.
Have you been to the new Creek? It's gorgeous.
It is really pretty.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
But the old Creek, it had a lot of character.
Yep.
And when we met, I was, I had just moved here. I was like, I saw him and was for sure like trying to hook up with him. But I was also like 24, 25. I think I had just turned 25. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't like looking for anything.
He was like what?
33.
Early 30s? Yeah.
Yeah. I have a joke about it now.
Yeah.
Of now that I'm 33, I'm like, what a pervert.
I love your joke about how he eats pussy like, he's running out of time.
Yes.
Like,
Men in their 40s eat pussy with fear and terror.
Yeah.
But I basically was just like upfront about it because I wasn't looking for anything serious. I just wanted to hook up with him. I in a blackout demanded he give me his number. I don't remember this, but then we became friends. We would go to open mics together. We would go to shows. We would just sort of hang out. And then
you were biding your time until you could get in there.
Well, I really liked it. And the more I hung out with him, the more I was like, oh, I've never liked somebody like this. And then I know, and then he, with regard to the herpes, like he was very nervous about it. He was very anxious. He talked to a friend who is a doctor who was basically like, dude, like she was open with you. Like that's huge. If you're just like hooking up with women like randomly, you're going to get a lot less honesty from them and you never know what you're getting into.
Totally.
So also any of them could give it to you too.
Right. Yes, exactly the point. So he was just like, you know what you're getting into with her. And then gradually,
listen, she's pretty hot. You don't really want to pass this up.
I was pretty, especially like 25 me. You know what I mean?
Like she's a fucking slice. What are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Slice. I love that.
Yeah, but that is so much of it. And it's like, I get why people aren't upfront and don't say anything.
Totally.
Like my friend who has it, he tells every single person, and it's like never been an issue for him.
He stops people in the subway.
He does. He hands out flyers. It's his own face, and then like
is he the one who like walks down the subway cart and just leaves a card and then keeps walking, and then he comes back and collects it?
It's like up where the little ads are, like those like psychic reading ads. But
hi,
he was
my name is Todd, and I have herpes. Here's my number. Here's my Yahoo account. You can email me at
on the Q train. But he's
it's
like
Todd with herpes at yahoo.com.
yeah, herpes.com. But he told me, he's like, no one has ever told me that they have, and he's like, that's statistically fucking impossible.
But again, they might not know because it's either like 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 at this point or something like that.
Yeah.
Although how do you even gauge that if it's not testable? Like it's probably more than that and we don't know.
Maybe it's like COVID where they like check the wastewater. Yeah. I had a guy once, I told him I had herpes and he was like, wow, that's so cool of you to tell me. He goes, I have it too, but I wasn't going to tell you. And I was like, well, we can't date, dude.
What? You're a shithead.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
What did you do?
So cool.
Did you have sex with him?
No, I did not. I finished the date, but that was it.
Because of that?
Yeah, it was like, you're just admitting that you're going to lie.
Yeah.
I have finished so many dates with idiots. Like you got to like wrap it up and like figure out how to be like, well, this has been fun, but I got to go wash
Move.
my cat.
You don't have a cat. I gotta go find a cat to adopt and
you
then
don't
wash.
usually wash your cats. So there's that
but-
too.
You go, it's a euphemism. Don't worry about it. But I just don't want to see you again.
Yeah.
Sure. I have a thing where it's like if it's a first date, you don't do the whole thing where it's like you plan something. Well, I guess you don't have to worry about this, but or you do
Not
do it
yet.
with your husband.
Only for your second marriage.
Where you have something planned after. You're like, I have an out.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you're like, just kidding. Do you want to come over and rail me?
Yeah.
Oh, it canceled.
Oh my God.
Oh, my phone's dead. Yeah, I do think it's a really good way to weed people out. Like I said, I've dated guys who have been really weird about like that kind of stuff, like health stuff. And I'm just like looking back on it and like, you're kind of like a little bitch. Like one of my exes had a friend and like friends who kept making like herpes jokes, which I'm not like, oh my God, that's so offensive.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it wasn't in a way, it was in a way that like middle schoolers do it. And I was just like,
Is this a man?
yeah, I
That's
was like,
so unexpected. Men are usually so mature.
and empathetic. But I was like, okay, that makes me think that you can't fuck.
Or that you have it. And so you're making jokes to offset your anxiety.
But that would
about
be
it.
insane too. Like that would be, it's like people who are diagnosed with it know like
men are insane.
this is true.
I think men are such little bitches about all forms of like illness and sickness and whatever because their bodies don't do any. Andrea's
The look on Andrea's face.
Andrea's eyelid is fluttering down. She's having
With
like
agreement.
a light seizure at like the reality of this. But you know, they don't get periods. Like they don't go through
Yeah.
cycles.
That's a
And
really
so-
good point.
So they like when they get like a cold, they're like,
We're born
I'm
with
gonna
our
die.
bodies
Like,
breaking.
so the idea of them having to like worry about an STD or something like that, like they just don't have to have the same relationship with like their
Yeah.
genitals like constantly causing them problems.
Sure.
Like they're not used to being like sick like that and being like, oh, I feel like shit for like a week out of every month. Like that's just
Yeah.
not their reality. Which I get. If I were them, I
Yeah.
would probably be the exact same way. I'd be like,
Yeah.
why do I feel bad? I never have to feel bad.
What is this? What do I do? Just like taking random meds, sticking random shit to your body.
Yeah, so I think that probably makes men more afraid of something like herpes than women, I would guess.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment.
Thanks.
JP McDade has a. Do you know JP?
Yeah.
He has a great joke.
JP McDaddy.
McDaddy. Oh, I love that. No, he's great. I had him on a show last month, and he had a great herpes joke.
Previous show.
Oh,
plug
what?
Previous show. Are you going to do it again?
Maybe it was really fun. If you guys are listening, what? If I'm just not talking into a void of space that's
just
devoid
telling-
of all
you're telling,
sound.
like,
Yeah.
Ariel, me, and Andrea about it.
If you guys in this room are even listening.
Yeah.
No, it was called the 1 Minute Date Show. It was super, super fun. We'll probably do it again regularly. But JP was on the show and he had a great herpes joke, which is like, if you are not down to have sex with someone with herpes, then like you are missing out because do not the best chefs have burn marks on their arms.
That's great.
Super fucking funny.
That's
it's like
such a good
it's
joke.
like if I mean, granted, it's not like obviously it's not a founded thing where it's like if you have herpes, the more you've fucked, but like that is
That's
a
great.
stigma. So why don't we play on that stigma?
Yeah, and that
love
audience
that.
didn't give anybody like enough, even though it sounded better from the back. Like all the comics were like, oh.
Yeah.
But it sounded really good from the back of the room. Like,
Yeah.
I think it would just has to
No,
do with,
I
like,
know.
the sound.
Thanks for taking this moment to like shit on the acoustics of my show. You're like, yeah, and to add to that, like real awkward stuff.
But the pizza was really
Their
good at this
pizza was
show.
great. Yeah, I think next time we're gonna. Well,
No,
one needs to.
I think they were a good audience. I just think the
Yeah.
acoustics in the room made it like,
Acoustics, we're gonna do the show at a 90-degree angle and then move the spotlights and stuff. We don't really
this
need
is
to.
good. People are going to be relieved to hear about this.
I perform at a lot of synagogues, and it's
I did my first synagogue.
Did
the
you
other
really?
night. I couldn't do any sex stuff. But
Yeah,
they were like
you have to
talk
be
about
clean.
crack and say f bombs and blah blah blah. Like do whatever you want, but you can't say like hand job.
yeah, but I find like Jewish audiences in general, we have like a hard time expressing joy because it's like not a part of our culture.
No,
we're-
suffering is really
we're really
the
like into
focus.
like
Suffering's
suffering
hot,
and like
yeah.
turning that into fun, but we're not good at just like
enjoying
having a
something.
smile on our face.
Yeah.
And I've learned like, you know, the first few that I did, I was like, I'm just bombing. This is awful. And then afterwards people would come up and be like, I loved it so much. And you're like, did you? But there is that thing of like with these shows where you're on stage and you're like, I think I'm bombing, and everybody's having a great time.
Yep.
And
I call that a European audience, a German audience.
I call them a library audience where everyone's smiling and having a good time, but they're just like, but they're not doing anything with their mouths. And
I
you're
don't
like,
really freak
I'm not getting
out.
any feedback. But the thing is, at your show, they actually were giving feedback. It was just that I think it was more quiet from like where, like,
You're like, they were giving feedback. It was just that it was a bad. Yeah,
they
the
just
feedback
hated
was
it.
bad.
no, like, but like I said, the laughs from the back sounded great, and like the comments were like,
I am someone who laughs and enjoys things in my own little cocoon. Like if I go out or if I do, like, meaning I don't really necessarily, like if I'm listening to music or if I'm watching comedy or whatever, I kind of just like watch like a wallflower and experience it. So if I do have one of those quiet audiences, I don't necessarily freak out. I'm like, just do your thing. I'm a fellow introvert.
I did,
blah blah blah.
I did shows this weekend where like literally, well, no, I'd say 3 out of the 4 shows, it was at least some of that. Like the last one was like a lot of it.
Yeah.
And like they would laugh out loud at like riffing crowd work and sex stuff, but everything else they would just like smile and enjoy it. But it's like if you have enough experience like doing road shit and experiencing every kind of audience, you can discern and be like, I know I'm not actually bombing because I've done this enough times that like everyone's having fun. They're just not good at like orating it.
And you know what a bomb feels like. You like when you've really
Yeah,
when you're just
you like
get
kind of lick your
hot.
finger and lift it up, and you're like, "This is a bomb." This is
And you start thinking about like the 3 bits you're gonna have to add to like get through
oh
the time while you're up there because there's no like breaks for laughter.
Yep, you're just
well, and you start rushing through because you're like, I just got to get through it, and you get faster and faster and faster and
And
faster.
then you're like, oh, I'm only 16 minutes
I
into
spiral
this 25
these
minute
days.
set.
I if I'm truly bombing, I acknowledge it, and then I'm like, "What do we do? What are we gonna like?" I can't rush through it anymore.
I feel the same way. I think and usually those crowds will laugh once you like acknowledge it.
Well, because you're like, what do you guys want? Like, what is it? Is there anything I can give you that
how
you'll
can I help
actually
you?
like? Yes.
I was featuring for Shane Torres, and he decided to do Q&A. Like when one of the audiences was just like not giving. He's like, you can talk, but you have to raise your hand first, and then I'll call
like the
you.
fucking TED Talk audience.
It
you
was
are.
fucking hilarious, and like people raised their hands and like asked really funny questions. That
Well, because you're like, if you're not gonna laugh, at least like, what do you want to know?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Then
why
I'll
are
tell you whatever you
Let's
wanna
get
know.
value out of
and
this.
also sometimes like it will this is so boring for people, I'm sorry, but like it'll parlay
I have
into
another fatherly advice question
Yeah.
for whenever you're
Okay.
ready to steer away from Chop Talk.
yeah, but it'll parlay into like something they ask will connect to like a bit that you have, and then you can like secretly shoehorn in a bit. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
yeah.
With like, oh, that's this is just
Speaking of which,
this is just off the cuff. This is just occurring to me. I have all these like punchlines set
and then
up
they
for
think you're a
this.
genius.
yeah, that still blows my mind when people still ask like, oh, do you write your stuff ahead of time? I'm like, no, I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah, I'm Sinbad.
Rory Scovel. yeah. Okay, I have another fatherly advice thing, and I feel like this is the one that I currently have, but it's kind of funny because it's a dating question and you're married. So should I ask it anyway and then just get like,
No, you shouldn't. Let's just run out
okay,
of content and clip the podcast
I'm
now.
gonna run out your window without opening it onto your fire escape. How
Like
about
a-
that?
like
Instead of
Roadrunner?
asking- Yeah,
Yeah.
like leave a Gracie shaped
I've
hole.
as someone who's run through a plate glass door one time, I don't recommend it.
On purpose?
Yeah. What?
I don't know. You're into CrossFit.
During like a manic
Maybe that's-
episode.
Like, actually, that's not a bad reference
Yeah.
of reality. No, I was 5 and I was racing my friend to the door.
Well,
and
that's
I
not impressive.
Well, I just really committed to winning the race, and so I
Sure.
just ran through.
That's kind of metal.
Yeah.
And you broke it.
No, I didn't. Oh, Oh, yeah. No,
It was like candy
It went
glass
right
in the
through,
Western.
and then I was just like blood streaming up
That's
my arm,
so
which
cool.
you can imagine how much my mother enjoyed seeing her 5-year-old do that. She was
like
like,
a horror
she's like so
movie.
fucking traumatized.
So I should do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Cool.
That's my
All right.
advice. Don't do
Okay.
that.
Okay, that's great. That was my first question. Second question. All right.
If a guy likes it, should she run through a plate glass window?
If a guy is taller than 6 feet, should I do literally anything he wants?
Yeah.
I don't really care about height, but anyway, moving on. Okay, so
Lies.
this is a question for both of you. Like, I've only recently gotten into it. Height, this is not part of the question. All right. Do you guys have, I'm in my 30s now, so I don't have like a texting rule. You know how it's like, don't text back too quick, blah, blah, blah. Like are we still following that? Because here's my thing. I'm super fucking busy, and anyone who knows me or my schedule that I'm texting like romantically or sexually knows that. So I don't play the game of like, ooh, I'm gonna.
You take the pockets that you can to text when you have time.
Exactly. So what do we think? Do we think there's some validity in being like, oh no, I'm gonna purposely take like 2 days? That just feels like fucking lame.
I don't think that Ari should get to answer this question because she's the worst texter of all time. I will text her nice things and either not hear back or hear back like 7 days later. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a text whore. That's the other reason. Like 80% of my screen time is messages.
Yes, no, I'm aware. You like to waterfall text, as I do too. So it's not.
I'm a little texty bitch. That's the other thing too.
Which I love that we're both like that, so I don't feel guilty when I text you.
I think that's really fair. Right?
I don't feel unloved.
I'm really bad. What happens is like I'll see the text and be like, oh, and then like I'll reply in my head and then just put it down.
You can unread it now.
No, she doesn't have an iPhone. She has an Android.
It's not about that. It's just like I'll just.
What if it is about that?
Yeah.
At least, but if it looks unread, you'll realize if you unread it, you know, if you could do that.
I guess I probably have some.
You'd realize like, oh.
I bet I have. Oh, my phone's not here. But that's the other thing is like I don't always have my phone right next to me, and then I just like don't.
See, I can't understand that. I'm surgically attached to that thing.
Yeah, I wonder why I'm not very productive at writing, and I'm just like staring at my phone.
Well, you are productive
you're
at writing text.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. Or it's like if a friend texts you something dumb that requires no response, I'm going to see it and not respond to it.
You can do it historically, right? Like before you were married, like what was
I've always been a bad texter.
Yeah.
I've always been bad at it.
Everyone wants to be that person though. Like everyone wants
to be the withholding one. That's like, oh, I'm too
but it's
cool.
Like even if someone's texting you and you're excited about it, like a boy or something, you're like, I literally don't give a fuck.
It's not that I don't give a fuck. It's that I don't know if it's I don't have the long enough attention span. It's like I reply in my head.
It's unbelievable.
And then I just like, and then I get distracted by doing something and I'm like, oh, I'll respond to that later. And then I just forget to respond to it. Because like my mind,
what I'm saying is if you could unread it, you wouldn't forget to respond to it because you'd see like, oh, I have 4 messages.
No, because then it just becomes, it's the same thing with emails. It just becomes like another, it no longer stands out.
You ignore it.
You
like
just
the sign that says wash your hands if you're an employee.
Do you ignore that?
Well, first of all, I don't work somewhere. I'm not employed by someone that requires hand washing.
So you never wash your hands.
But no, they talk about that, like that's once something is there for too long and it just becomes part of the background.
Got it.
Just for the record, when I was in the food industry, I'm a big hand washer. Like every time I touch a doorknob, I wash.
Can you get like arrested for that?
I'm not even gonna answer that question.
I mean, I'm about to be the vigilante out here. I don't know. That's crazy to me. It's like if someone that I like texts me, it's on the back burner in my head. You know what I mean? Like it's there.
It's lingering there. Like that's a thing I gotta get done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it's hard for me to not. Maybe this is why she's fucking married and we're not.
I don't know.
Chill.
Look, it gets in the way sometimes because it also means that I like drop the ball a lot with a lot of things, including like keeping up my friendships.
What about like career shit? No, if a career thing comes your way, then you're like
different
because
that's business, and you know you got to like take care of that. Like
yeah, or I just like, I mean, I guess it depends on the career thing, but most things I forward to like agent or manager.
Yeah.
If they tell me to do something, if they tell me to respond to something, I will. But I still need that prod. I still need somebody telling me to do it, which is not good.
You need someone holding you accountable.
Yeah. With everything.
We all do.
Do you feel like it's affected? Because I feel like I maintain my friendships so much through text. Do you feel like it's affected your friendships?
Probably. It's something that I am trying to be better about.
I resent her, so absolutely.
Do you?
That's why we brought you here, so Maria can confirm.
I tried today to even be to instigate the group chat a little bit because also I had some tea.
It was great.
But like in general,
tell you after.
Yeah, we'll tell you after. But in general, I'm pretty bad at it. I'm trying to be better because I've realized like I love my friends so much, and I think like the way
you too.
I wasn't talking about you, but the way
I
you really set it up.
I 100% knew that I was like setting up a softball for you. I was like, this is gonna be so fun for everyone.
But the way in which like I realized like my nonchalance towards communication is not good for fostering and maintaining these friendships, because what I'm doing is I'm putting all of the work and all of the onus on the other person, which is not fair. And eventually they get tired of it. Like, it shouldn't all be on them. So I'm trying to be better.
I don't know.
It.
I think it's pretty hot. I like chasing you.
But you should, if you're my friend, you shouldn't have to chase me, right? Like,
yeah, but it's also people have variances of personalities, right? Like, if you're in front of me, you're not withholding. Like,
I mean, that is the other thing. If I'm in front of you, I'm not. Chances are I'm not on my phone. Like, I am fully yours.
yeah, yeah. Like when I saw you at Gotham, you were like, "Oh my god, I miss you. It's so good to see you." And like you like leaned your like head on my shoulder,
nuzzled.
Like, yeah, like she's a very warm person.
Yeah.
She just doesn't like to text.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, it's also, it's like if that is really a problem for anyone, then that's also a way to filter it out, you know? Because it's like you want people who are, whether you text a lot, whether you don't text a lot, whether the response time, whatever, it's like you want people who are on your wavelength. So it's like if you're, you know, if you're like reaching your limit and it's still not enough for that person, then that's a good, you know.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with what you do because I know what the intent is or is not behind it.
There's that. I am also, I'm like you, I'm very introverted. So like when I'm home and alone, even if I'm staring at my phone, it's like, this is not like
Chatty
time. time.
Yeah.
I can't.
At social
do
time,
it.
all the messages.
I will wake up to like 7 messages from Gracie. Like she's never sent one text in her life. Like,
Oh, it's like a
yeah. Which again, I do too. So I don't have a problem with it. But she makes me seem chill. Like she makes me feel. Like
I have like
you.
a texting problem, and that's why when it comes to dating, I'm like, oh, I know you're supposed to make yourself less available, but I'm like, I'm not gonna not text you like I text everyone else.
In my opinion, it's like the herpes. It's like if you can't handle this, it's like this is what
this
I'm
is
like.
who you are.
So
Right. I also
like,
don't need to make someone sweat.
Right.
Too, in a dating capacity.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to be like, ooh, I want them to like.
And also, when you're doing
wonder.
that texting like that, it's like that's when you're like fully obsessed with someone.
When what?
Like when you're texting like that much, like someone that you're into, you know, like you're gonna waterfall text when you're like excited about a new thing with a dude or a chick or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the more comfortable that you get with them, it's like 3 years into your relationship, and you're like, I haven't texted them in a year and a half.
Yeah. I think as long as you're not like, you know, of like, where are you? What are you doing right now? Like, as long as it's not that, I think you're fine. I think like just, and some people are going to be like, nah, I'm not into this.
Or
this is
if
not
it's
for me.
like
But that's what dating in your 30s is.
I've
It's
also
also
had guys that just like I can be like that and they're not like that, and it's like they don't care. Like they're still reading everything that I send them, or pretending to.
No, I think mine was more a question of like response time. The content I'm not so worried about because it's like I'll respond accordingly. Like I'm a mirror, so if someone sends me a lot of text, I'll send a lot of text back. If they're sending, so it's like, but response time is the one time I don't mirror. Anyway, that's it.
I try to like not play with that and just be like, I'm going to respond when I want to respond, and it's like pretty instant with me. So it's like I shouldn't have to pretend that I'm like, oh, I'm just going to be so busy for 17 minutes exactly that I put a timer on.
I also again, anyone knows that like as comedians, we're always working like 8 different fucking jobs, and we're all so busy. So it's like no one has to wonder and be like, I wonder if she's it's like, no, bitch.
Yeah.
Fucking anyway, that's it. Fucking
metal.
Right, I'm gonna shut up. I said I would shut up like 18 minutes ago, but here we
No,
are.
it's a podcast. This is your job.
Yeah, but
Talk.
we're working on the balance.
Oh.
Me and all my 8 personalities.
I don't know. Like you just made that up. We haven't you haven't worried about that in months.
I know.
You guys seem to have a good dynamic. You guys seem to take turns talking.
Yeah, we have a good dynamic. We have a good.
What
like,
if this is the moment that it flipped and Ariel's like, Maria will not shut the fuck up.
How do you fucking deal with
Like,
this
I don't think this is gonna work.
It's worked. It's
No,
worked.
it's really
a
nice.
guest breaks up the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, you're done.
A third.
No, I think you guys.
You guys
are nice.
start your own podcast. You podcast cheat. You podcast leave me for another guest.
You have like jokingly worried about that before. You're like, I'm still your number one, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna start a new podcast now.
Like you're like, we should have another guest on. I was like, but like you guys are both blonde. Like, are you guys gonna replace me? Should I go
blonde hair in there?
Yeah, so that I could secure my place as co-host.
I told her, I was like, blonde or you're out.
Yeah, and now
Blonde
when
or
it's up
bust,
like
babe.
this, I just have it's brunette with a little yellow nugget on top.
It's cute. I like it.
Speaking of hair,
It's
is it
cute.
hot tip time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that.
I told you would, which is my own fault.
My hot tip is...
You can always say that it's your parents having sex and making
No,
someone.
I don't ever want to say that again. I guess my hot tip is text whenever you want. And
Ooh, just making it relevant to the podcast.
and
I
be
love that.
blonde, because if you're not blonde, you'll never be hot.
How do you feel as someone?
Just for the people listening that
I'll
aren't
never-
watching this on YouTube, Ari is a brunette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. Can you give me examples of other hot tips?
That's a good one
given?
before we've gotten
When it's women, they tend to say like, don't apologize or ever. No, I'm just kidding. don't be overly apologetic, or they have like a skincare routine or drink water and that kind of thing.
drink water is probably the most frequent across all genders.
Drink water and moisturize. But when it's men, it's usually like, be confident. You're perfect the way you are. Like, just
Finger gun in the mirror every morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My advice to be hot is get herpes.
Yeah.
I think
Because
that's
then you're
it.
fucking walking out just confident and like take it or leave it,
You're
bitch.
confident. You're not worried about it anymore.
Yeah.
So you're less stressed. You got less anxiety, which keeps you young and hot.
coming from a woman who's married and doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, because I got herpes.
Yeah. Before.
That's how you secured your man.
You want to get hurt? You want to get married? You gotta get herpes first.
Yeah, and be like, if only the strong
Yeah.
will make it to this finger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These fingers.
Yeah.
I don't keep my wedding ring. I keep my. You know what happened is my wedding ring. I had it on. Thank you. I had it on my other finger, like you're supposed to. And every time I looked down, I just saw my mom's hand, and I was like,
Oh, you have it on your middle, and then you
Yeah.
have your engagement on your. Oh,
I
sexy.
and I love my mom, but there was something. It just like took. It was just a moment where I was like, it's my mom's hand, and I was.
Whoa.
It freaked you out?
It freaked me out a little bit. Just because it felt like a body dysmorphia moment of like, this is not mine, this is my mom's.
Yeah.
No shade on my. So I switched the ring, and
You were
it's
like,
helped a lot.
I masturbate with my left hand, so that it has to be my hand.
No, imagine my husband is left-handed.
So am I, but I still use my right.
Really?
I mean, I'm ambidextrous, so I can switch off, not to flex.
Is it like a holy thing? Like you don't want to like you want to use like your holy hand to like jerk off?
My holy
because-
hand?
Yeah. Like
Why would
right hand?
Why
I
would
don't
your
know.
right hand be your holy hand?
Isn't that is anyone religious here? Is like right hand to
Just
God or
Jewish.
something? Just Jewish? I don't know. I thought that was a thing. Like your right hand. Like,
I mean, I
like
know, like-
left-handed people are like like from the devil or something.
I mean, yes, I am from the devil. I'm not
But
arguing that
For
part, but
other reasons.
Sinister.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
But,
exactly.
yeah, no, I mean, I know that that's a thing, but I wasn't aware that right hand meant holy hand. Just that left-handers are not to be trusted.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But I mean, I know in some cultures, like I think you only touch each other with your right hand because like you use your left hand in the
To
bathroom.
masturbate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the few times that I have masturbated in a bathroom, it's on the toilet. No,
Yeah.
it's always like
I've done that once.
It's in the
I
shower.
did that once at work on a Saturday. I was there working, but I got so mad at my computer that I got like crazy horny and I needed to like take care of it in the bathroom. Andrea is nodding. Like, Andrea's gotten so technologically upset that you have to masturbate.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
doing it on the toilet at work is different
had
than
to do it.
Is it just because you have to release something?
It's just I don't remember, but it was on a Saturday when no one else was there.
Okay.
So I felt like I was like able to do it. But yeah, it made me honestly feel like very like a true feminist because I was like, men fucking jerk off at work. in the bathroom.
feminist.
Yeah, I was like, I'm making myself an equal. Jerk off that's my stay hot tip.
I've never
jerk off in your office bathroom.
I've never
as a woman.
I've never jerked off at work. I have done coke at work.
Ooh, like during the day or like
Yeah.
a holiday party.
Yeah, I went. It's like a multi-stall bathroom, and you
Sure.
just go to the big one because it's like that's where the windowsill was, and then you just like set yourself up.
What were the circumstances? Were you just doing it alone? There's no way.
Yeah.
What?
Were you working in a bar or a restaurant?
No, I was working at an office, and
Who had coke?
I did. What do you mean? Who had coke?
Did you bring it
just
from
don't
home?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like,
Were you
listen-
planning on doing it that day at work?
Yeah, I was like, listen, we don't really care about this job anymore, and
Me.
it'll be fun. Like daytime coke is super fun because it's like peppy and you can still go to sleep at night. Like it's kind of like doing Adderall.
God, I forget that I've caught you in your like post drug like tea days.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So when you tell me these, it's like Maria loves tea and non-alcoholic beer now. So when you're telling me this, like Maria with the red lipstick and the top bun and the Coke and at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday, what?
And I did this one time, to be clear. I wasn't like, Wednesdays are for Coke at work.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to smoke weed at work all the time.
Yeah.
When I worked in an office.
but the most hilarious thing happened, which is that, and it wasn't someone from my office, it was someone from a different company that was on that floor. But I did not lock the stall, and she goes to open it, and I'm like holding Coke. And I was like, slam! like literally the worst case scenario of doing something stupid at work that you're like, oh, I hope no one finds me. And then I don't lock the door properly.
It was an agency job, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like everyone's like, if you're not doing Coke openly in the bathroom, you've popped like 3 Adderall before you've come to work.
Yeah, no,
So I feel like it's the same
everyone's
thing.
blowing lines after work,
For
so
sure.
might as well do it during work.
Yeah.
But it was a really
Very
fun
Mad
day.
Men.
You know, you're
Yeah,
just
of
like,
course.
woo, I'm feeling peppy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
feel
it was a
that.
good time.
Yeah.
So no masturbation, but you know, I have had a good time at work.
Good. You can do one without the other.
Whatever it takes for you to get through the day.
Yeah.
Day jobs are hard.
Well, and now, you know, you're working remote. It's very easy to do drugs. Unfortunately, I don't do them anymore.
It's also still very easy. I still like to cry in the bathroom during work hours, even though I'm fully remote.
Just cry in your own bathroom.
Yeah, for
fair
sure.
enough.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't cried in a really long time.
Ooh, get on it.
Yeah.
I haven't
honestly,
masturbated in a really long time. So I think it's been over
Maybe
6
we can-
months.
Have you watched Somebody Somewhere?
No.
It's Bridget Everett's show on Hulu.
Will it make me cry?
Yeah. It made me cry,
All right.
but in a good way.
I cry at like music.
Sure. I can cry at almost
Live music. And I'm like,
Sure.
I can cry at almost anything at this point. Like there'll just be like a nice moment about something that should not be cry worthy, and I won't like fully cry, or I'll just kind of
Tear.
like
Little-
well up a little bit.
maybe the
and
one
just be like-
tear.
I'll just be like, I was watching. I can't remember what I was watching. It was like something where sports was happening, which just sounds like I don't know what sports are, but like, but it was something like that was not like a usual sport, and like one player was handing another player like something, and I was like, oh, they're working together.
Yeah, teamwork.
fucking Rudy makes me fucking cry. Sometimes I'll just watch the clip where he's accepted in a Notre Dame.
I've never seen that movie because I feel like it's just gonna break my heart.
Yeah. And then you'll rebuild from the ashes.
Like a phoenix.
Yeah. Yes. Watch Rudy. It's amazing.
Okay,
Watch Somebody
great.
Somewhere. It's
So,
Plugs.
that can be your stay hot tip.
great. Watch Somebody Somewhere. Watch anything Bridget Everett's ever done.
Yeah,
That'll help keep you hot.
man, seeing her live is so wild. She's crazy entertaining.
I don't know who this is.
She's a comedian, but she comes from like doing like burlesque show
Cabaret,
background,
kinda, yeah.
cabaret, and it's like,
Expanding
She's
my
incredible.
education.
yeah, she's just
Love
like
it.
her energy is so powerful. You're just like, holy shit.
Energy and powerful in the same sentence.
And so
Yeah.
funny.
I must check
And
it
so
out.
talented.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else?
No, not unless you have any final thoughts you want to share.
You've been so helpful and amazing and charming.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
At Ariel_COMEDY.
Hell yeah.
I love that you don't spell Ariel, but you spell comedy.
I'm also really, are you proud of us that we made it through one this just occurred to me that we made it through a whole podcast without talking about a beer getting thrown at your head.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah,
I really
honestly.
appreciate it.
That didn't even occur to me.
That's nice,
It only
guys.
occurred to me right now.
Have you had to talk about that on a lot of podcasts?
Are you kidding?
Yeah. It's like the first.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Usually, even if that's not like the main topic, that becomes like the
comes up.
jumping off point.
Okay.
Right. Like this is a comedian,
right, you may
from
know her
not,
from
not
getting
her
a beer
jokes
thrown
or
at her head.
accomplishments.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll talk to you about this after because it pertains to a little tea that we have. But yeah, I don't for a little while. I will say like afterwards, I had a lot of not like resentment exactly about the attention it got, but I didn't know how to handle it because I didn't have like a manager or agent at that time.
Yeah.
So it was just all on me. And now it's just like, yeah, that's like a cool thing I did. That's, I'm glad people found me from that. I'm pretty accepting of all of it, especially now. Again, the same thing with herpes. Like I now have like bits about it.
Sure.
Like I've worked it out more or less. And so it's become a thing that I can like talk about and only really feel like, not that the trauma of it is gone, but the fear of it seems to be gone.
Yeah.
And now it's more like I've learned how to talk about it lightheartedly. But initially, I didn't know how to do it yet.
And now we have to say, just to give people clarification, like, because they were like, what is this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Ariel was performing, and there were a couple piece of shit like Trumpers in the back in a New Jersey show. And they started asking her like, oh, who did you vote for? And she's like, what difference does it make? Like, I'm in New York, like, you know who's gonna get
so
elected. And then this dude who is truly an evil person, because imagine like the medical situation it would have been if the beer had hit you. He threw a full beer at Ariel on stage, and she picked it up off the ground, and there was still a little bit left in it, and then she chugged it, and then it went viral,
Very viral.
as it deserved to be, because that's fucking crazy.
Thanks. Yeah.
You're badass.
Was that a good summary?
That was a perfect synopsis.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And now we have not gone a full podcast without talking about it.
Yeah, but we tacked it
And
on
now we're
right
talking
at
about
the
it.
At the end.
Maria, where can they find us?
They can find you at Save Gracie Canaan, SAVEGRACIECANAAN.
And they can find you at Maria Heinegg, MariaHeinegg.
You guys, this
We're
has been
in
Hot
love.
Dad's Pod. Thank you
Hot
so
Dad's
much, Ari.
Pod.
Thanks, guys.
Hot Dad's Pod. Hot Dad's Pod. Okay, there we go.